Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for jumping on our Wednesday noon webinar. My name is Ed Kenny and I live down in Baltimore, Maryland. And, for the last, I'd say it's going on 10 months now, I've been out there and educating people about the whole concept of community solar, something that over the last 10 years has been in the works in a lot of different states. And a lot of states have really taken it seriously and advanced it into a place that really becomes a pretty amazing business. So about 10 months ago, I was introduced to a company called Common Energy, my brothers and I, and we looked at it. We met with the CEO and we kind of did a pilot test for about 6 months, and the pilot went beautifully. The whole concept, meeting with the state commissioners, meeting with the people that made this thing happen from the beginning in New York and Maryland now. And it's turned out to be an amazing opportunity, and the timing couldn't be better because it's something that's really helping people. It's helping the residential customers, and it's also helping the environment, and it's helping individuals like us who are entrepreneurs who want to go out there and instead of just waiting for everything to happen, we're taking action, being proactive about keeping income rolling in the house. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and give you the who, what, where, when, how, and why of Common Energy and Community Solar. And then halfway through the presentation, I'm going to switch courses and switch the presentation role over to my brother Jim, who is a compensation aficionado. So he's going to kind of run through the comp plan with you. But, at the end of the day, if you watch Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary's a pretty smart guy. He's like the kind of Simon Cowell of Shark Tank. He's just says what's on his mind, and he says what's going to be good, what's not. But he says in chaos, there's always opportunity. And the people who find that are the entrepreneurs. And it's not that we're opportunists, taking advantage of something that's really bad. We're just people that are, going out there and making the best of a situation and providing benefits to folks. Couldn't imagine a better opportunity to be an entrepreneur right now. Get through economic crisis by doing a side hustle. This is something you can do, whether it's an hour a day, an hour a week, an hour a month, whatever. It's just as efficient as you can be is how much you can make. And there's really unlimited upside if you look at the big vision of the company, where we're going. So Common Energy is the name of the company, and the goal is to bring lower emissions and real savings to your community. The whole concept is, community solar it's a new government program right now in New York, Maryland, Massachusetts, Illinois, and other states that enable the public for the first time ever to support clean energy and save money through guaranteed programs. This isn't you might save, this isn't you could save, this is guaranteed baked in contract savings. Common Energy has built a platform that enables virtually everyone and anyone to connect these projects and save, provided you live in the utility footprint. We're recruiting leaders who want to bring clean energy and guaranteed savings to their networks and communities. So how does it all work? Well, you've got your community. Community is built up of homeowners, renters, apartments, condos, churches, schools, small business. A lot of these folks, for one reason or another, can't get solar on their house, okay, or their business. They just can't. Whether there's shading issues or their credit checks or the wrong style roof, whatever the case may be, the state said we need to enable people, everybody who wants to participate in renewable energy, the ability to do so. So they set up these programs that allow customers to subscribe to local community solar farms where the energy is harnessed by the sun and delivered right to the utility grid, okay? So if you've ever driven down a highway and you've seen the big field filled with solar panels and said, wonder what that's for, you're gonna know exactly what that's for now, because it's for community solar. It's in the footprint of the utility, and anybody who lives in that footprint of that utility can enroll and be part of the farm and get the incentives for doing so. The energy then flows to the on-site meter to the utility company, okay? And then the utility calculates the value of the energy that was produced by the farms and issues a monetary credit to the subscriber for their share of the farm, okay? So let's say there's 1,000 panels on a farm and you decide to enroll in it. You might be responsible for 5 of those panels that are going to generate you energy, but you're going to also get the benefit, the financial monetary benefit of being part of that farm and making it happen. So Common Energy is the technology company that makes everything flow seamlessly from the customer to enroll, actually acquiring the customer to begin with. Then the customer gets on and enrolls right through Common. Common goes through the back office and connects the account with the utility company to the farm, and then issues the credits. And then you pay Common Energy, and you pay less money for the same electricity that you're using today. So Common Energy is a value-based company committed to serving the public, okay? The mission is to accelerate the adoption of clean energy, Solar farms are very scalable. You know, you could put one solar farm up that can accommodate 1,000 households, as opposed to going to 1,000 different households and installing solar. It's much more efficient. It's much more scalable. Our company, Common, is registered with the New York Department of Public Service and the Maryland Public Service Commission for the official community solar provider. Now, we'll be registered with every state as we move forward into all the states. We have to register with the state. Serving thousands of customers already today, primarily about 95% of them up in the New York State area. And we're just starting to really fill farms here in Maryland. It's been about the last 4 months now that we've been filling farms down here. We've won a bunch of awards. If you go to the website and hit the press section, you can see all of the different awards that we've won and all the different press releases. I love to use the press releases to share it with prospective customers to say, hey, look what's happening in Maryland, look what's happening in New York, to give them an understanding of how really awesome this is. We also give back. We take part of our profits and give back to the United Way, Adirondack Mountain Club, and Solar Albany. So what Common Energy isn't is a third-party energy supplier. You probably heard about it. If you're in New York or Maryland, there's no doubt you probably heard that there's a bunch of suppliers out there, and we're not a supplier. We do not buy and sell electricity. We don't compete. We don't impact suppliers at all. If you're currently with a third-party supplier, everything stays exactly the way it is. We have no effect on that. We're not a multi-level marketing company, and we hire qualified representatives. We actually give the opportunity to people that want to go out there and just simply educate. Remember, I don't even know if it's remembered. I don't even know if I've said it yet, but it doesn't cost anything to enroll in these farms. It's a state program, and there's no cost for doing it. So the only reason why somebody hasn't done it is because they simply don't know it exists. And our job is to go out there and let people know that the program exists, and to help them, facilitate them in enrolling in the project. So we have an amazing board of advisors and directors and a leadership team. If you look up any of these people, take a screenshot, go back and Google them. The 13th United States Energy Secretary during the Obama administration, Bill Weil from Facebook and Google, the former CTO to Akamai. And then we've got our leadership team here, Richard Kaiser, who for the network last night actually did a big network-wide call, kind of sharing his vision and sharing some of the tools that he's been working on to help us become more efficient at sitting down with folks and enrolling them. He's the founder and CEO, and he's been in the energy space for about 7 years before after getting into Wall Street when he got out of MIT. But he started his own residential solar company, and he realized about 3 years in that, community solar was just a much more scalable way. His goal is to green the grid and green the country, green the world for that matter, but doing it in a scalable way where you can make the most amount of impact in the shortest period of time. He saw that community solar was the way to go. And so far, he's pretty much put on 3 times as many green energy customers in the last 3 years than he did in the previous 4. So it's working really well. So these are examples of some of the farms that we have now. Right now, we're currently filling one in Bowie, Maryland. It's about probably 90% full, and then we'll roll into the next farm when it opens up. And then Carthage, New York, there's new customers going on that all the time. East Fishkill, New York, we have a big project there for customers. Hancock, Maryland, it's another Potomac Edison area one. It's another utility down here that we're filling right now. So those are just kind of examples. You can go on. When a customer enrolls, they know exactly what farm they're going to be part of. So the states have this actual program that they're the ones that created it. So you can go to the websites of the states and kind of look at the details, get comfortable with it, because state programs are, typically, I don't know, there's some programs that are great, some that aren't so great. I just happen to think that the state is actually doing an amazing thing for the residents who live in the state, because putting this together with a guaranteed savings, free to enroll, and going green, it doesn't get much better than that. But you have all the ability to show this to people that you're trying to educate about it. A couple quick facts from the Solar Energy Industry Association. Through 2019, there were 40 states with at least one community solar project. Okay, so states understand that this is the way to go. 2,000 cumulative megawatts, 411,000 customers that are participating in farms all across the country. In New York alone, there's 6,000 megawatts over the next 5 years that are going to be built. And that's going to accommodate the ability to have 1.2 million customers going green locally, saving money. It's really awesome. It's a great state goal. Maryland is very similar. They want the majority of people to be going green by 2030. So right now, if you look at the blue states, those are the ones that we're currently live, operational, rolling, putting customers on every day. And then the green are the ones that are in the queue to be launched very shortly. I mean, there's some that we should know about very quickly. But we got, Massachusetts, Illinois, Jersey, all the way out to, Washington, Oregon, midsection of the country. But ideally, over the next 10 years, there's no reason why all 50 states aren't all in on community solar. And when you've got a beginning leader like Common Energy, who's undoubtedly one of the most powerful companies in the space, they're going to be getting a lot of the projects. And that's going to lead a great way for us to be able to continue to expand our networks and continue to grow with the company for many years to come. So how do customers enroll and save money? First step, they go to when you become a rep, you get a website link and you send it to your prospective client. They sign up through Common Energy's website, say their bill is $150 a month today. Common connects the account with the local solar project, so the customer sees that and knows exactly what project they're going to be part of. You receive a clean energy credit on your electricity bill. Okay, so let's say there's a credit there of 10%. 10% of the clean energy is then deducted from your total bill. So all of a sudden your bill that was $150 now all of a sudden goes to $140. Okay, so you're saving 10%. You look at these numbers and it looks like it's not 10%, but it's 10% on the supply, generation, and transmission. There's a certain portion, about 10% of your bill, that is taxes and ancillary charges or hookup charges that everybody has to pay. The 10% isn't off of that because those are fixed costs, but the 10% is off the actual energy cost for generation, transmission, and supply. So your bill was $150. You went through a 5-minute enrollment process that didn't cost you anything. Now it's $140, and it will remain that way, 10% for the next 20 years, guaranteed. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's not maybe it'll happen. It's not could happen. It's definite, baked in, guaranteed. So Common Energy, customer sign up is very simple. And this is what we get paid a lot of money for. There are some complexities here that you're going to have to walk the customer through, but that's why Common Energy is paying us the amount of money that they're paying us to get customers. First thing is they go to your website, they click check availability, they put in their zip code, and it assigns them to what utility that they're in. They confirm that, first name, last name, email, done. Now, the fun part. They connect you to the actual farm. They're going to show the customer exactly what farm they're going to be part of, give them a little details about it. They'll always be able to, if they want, get the address of the farm. They could drive to the farm, take a picture of it. I'm going to be doing that either later today or tomorrow. I'm going to go down to the farm that I'm part of and take a picture and just circle a couple of panels and say, this is me for free. I'm getting 10% off my electric bill. So then the next step is to sync up your utility account to Common. All right. So Common needs to be able to go into your utility account and pull off your 12 months of historical usage, because they need to know how much your house uses every year for electricity so that they know how much of the farm to allocate towards you. Okay. It's very critical, and for ongoing billing purposes. So you got to have your username and password for the utility account. If you don't have that, or your customer doesn't have that, just click on create the online account. You can set it up in 3 minutes. The third step is the final step, and that is how you're going to pay for your electric bill from this point forward. You're going to pay it to Common instead of the utility. Okay, you're always going to be able to go into your utility account. You'll always be able to see your bill there and see what it would have been. But with Common, you're going to be able to log into your back office and see the bill, a PDF copy of your actual utility bill, but then also a statement of savings from the utility or from Common that shows that you're getting the 10% savings. So it's going to be, your bill is going to be literally 10% less for all of the things that we talked about. It's very transparent every single month. You'll always have access to your old bill and be able to look at it and compare it to what your new bill is with Common. Then you get your own back office where you're going to be able to monitor your savings to date, your future projected savings over the next 20 years, how much of an environmental impact you're going to have, and you're going to be able to refer customers. Customers are going to be able to refer customers. It's a very simple plan. It's $50. If I refer a customer, I get $50. The new customer gets $50. So there's a real big incentive for customers to actually say, hey, mom, sister, brother, Joe, you got to get into this community solar program. I'll send you the link. And all they do is put in an email there and send it, or put it on their Facebook, send messages, whatever. It comes out with a beautiful, hey, John is using Common Energy and saving money. He thought it would be a good idea for you to do it. Boom. The whole thing is very seamless. And for us as building a network, being reps, all of those referrals get put into the compensation plan, and it becomes extremely viral and extremely lucrative. So this is kind of an example of what the bill would look like. If you look at National Grid, you've got your clean energy credits as one line item that would show up on the bill as a community net metering adjustment, a little closer here. And then this is the statement of savings that you'll have from Common Energy. You can see right here, if you look at the top, kind of middle left, it says bill summary. National Grid electricity was $149.43. Okay, you've got a $13.21 credit from Common Energy. So now your net new bill is $135.149. So this is what you get every single month. It's extremely transparent, extremely easy to read, and it also shows your environmental impact. Like I said, there are no fees to enroll. There's no penalties. If you leave, nobody ever would, but if you do, there's no penalties. There's no renewals. You don't have to do anything for the whole 20 years. You just let it happen. And there's no impact at all to third-party suppliers. So if you're with a third-party supplier right now and you're saving money with them, even better, right? So there's no impact on that. If you're selling third-party electric, there's no impact on that. Everything stays just as it was. So it's very, very simple and very easy for everybody to understand. Wanted to bring this up. In Maryland, there is a unique rule written into the community solar laws that if somebody is considered to be what's called low to moderate income, and this is the chart right here. If somebody falls to that, if there's 4 people living in the household and the income is less than $71,900, for example, this person would be qualified to participate in the LMI program. So instead of just getting 10%, which is awesome to begin with, they actually would qualify to get 25% off their entire electricity costs. That's pretty amazing. So the state wanted to make this available to the people that typically would never be able to get solar put on their house and give them that extra incentive. So there's also applies to organizations, housing authorities, things like that, that can get a blanket override on all their meters. It's very exciting, and it's very particular just to Maryland. So Common Energy, that's my part of the program, the who, what, where, when, how, and let's bring up my brother Jim, who knows the comp plan better than anyone. He helped with the company to create it, and he's going to go through and kind of explain how it works. It's very simple. He's going to do a great job of explaining it to you. So Jim, are you there?
Yeah, I just switched to compensation, right?
There you go. Perfect.
All right, awesome. Great job, Ed. Yeah, guys, this is a great program, and I am really excited to go through the next 10 minutes or so and show you basically, how we get compensated for this program that Ed just described. So the reality of the situation is Common Energy has been, they're in their third year. They've brought on thousands of customers over the previous 3 years. But basically about a year ago or 9 months ago or so, we got involved with them. And the way that, we were introduced to Common and what the whole program was, and the way that they were traditionally getting their customers was, traditional ways. They were sending out mailers. They were calling people, on the phone, doing telecalls, et cetera. And whatever, they were spending a lot of money. And yes, they were getting some customers. But then, we kind of introduced to them the whole concept of, hey, there's a lot of local people in the local markets that know people personally. And what we found is that, this is a great program. And usually when you see something that sounds like too good to be true, which Ed just went through, is like, really, how could that be? It's like guaranteed 10% savings, no catches, no anything, right? No commitments, no long-term fees, et cetera. That people, they're not going to believe that if they just get a mailer in the mail, right? They might do some research on it, but they're not going to pull the trigger. So what we found is that Common could take a lot of those marketing dollars and pay it to us in the form of a commission by going out and really walking somebody through the process. Takes about 3 minutes for somebody to go through the process of enrolling. But they need that person that they know and trust somehow or another to get them over the line and really to get them to understand how this program is real and that they should absolutely take advantage of it before that local system is not there anymore and they have to wait maybe a month or 2 or 6 for the next system to come on board. So we introduced our network compensation plan, which I'm going to touch on here. And just one other thing that I want to hit before I go into this is, when the word community solar is so real here. Community is your local area, right, where you live in. And the benefits that community solar have are tremendous, right? There's a landowner somewhere that's making money on land that he wasn't before because he's leasing his land to the developers to put these panels there. There's local people that are installing and maintaining these systems, constantly. There's a maintenance that happens here that has to happen. So all that money is local and it's staying in the local community. Also, the air that you're breathing is clearly better, right? Because it's more than likely coal that is not being put up into the air because the power is now being replaced by solar panels. As a matter of fact, I read an article this morning, which was kind of shocking, was that in the United States, in the month of April, there was more, for the first time ever, every single day in the month of April, there was more energy created from renewable energy, new projects such as this one, that were created than the other forms, the forms of energy that create emissions. First time in history that every day in the month of April, more energy was produced from renewables than from traditional methods. So I think we're on to something here. And again, we're just getting started. Like Ed saw on that map, we're just in these 2 states now. But over time, it's going to be more and more states and more opportunity. So guys, here it is. Here's how we get paid. So, I'm going to use for this first example, a typical house. This is like a 2 or 3 bedroom small house, 10,000 kilowatts, right? Some houses are more, some houses are less, and I'll touch on that. But basically, the point that I want to make is that what I'm going to show you right now is on the average household, right? You get a bigger house, the commissions will be more. You get a 1 bedroom apartment, it'll be less, right? That's another thing just to know about community solar is you don't have to be a homeowner, right? You could live in an apartment or a condo. It doesn't matter. No one's putting solar panels on their roof. They're just getting it from this farm. So pretty much anybody who has an electric bill is qualified for this program. So So this is an average house using 10,000 kilowatts. The common will allocate 9,000 kilowatts to that system, to that house, and the amount of credits will then be allocated to that person's bill accordingly. Now you, the originator, the person that's going to go out and get that customer, educate that customer to this program, walk them through the sign-up process and get them on board, are going to make a commission on that. The commission rate is 0.0144 per allocated kilowatt. So in this case, it would be $129.60. The way Common pays it is we get paid twice a month. The first 15 days of the month is the first period, and then from the 16th of the month till the last day of the month is the second period. So after today is like the 13th or something of May. Activity that's happened since the beginning of May up until I guess Friday, which is the 15th, will then get paid out next Friday. We get paid out 2 times, half when the customer completes the enrollment process, which again takes less than 3 minutes. They get their account information, they put it into the system, they tell Common how they're going to pay for the bill, and boom, they get their credits allocated. We get paid half of the commission when that process is done, and then we get the second half when they actually start receiving the credits on their bill and pay their first bill through the statement of savings that they're going to get from Common. That typically takes 1 or 2 billing cycles for that process to happen. All right, so that's the first level. So that's where you can go out and make as much money as you want. It's unlimited to the amount of customers you can personally bring in. But then we have a system in place where if you want to build a sales organization, you can bring on and teach and train other people to do the same thing. Well, in this case, we have what's called Tier 1. So let's say I bring on my friend Tony, who happens to know a lot of customers that I don't know, and he can go out and make $130. Well, when he goes out and makes $130, I'm going to make an override of $32 because I'm kind of like this sales manager in this situation. And then Tony is going to know some people. So he's going to bring on somebody, let's say Sarah. So Sarah comes in, she goes out and gets a deal. She's going to make $130. Tony's going to make $32. But because now I'm kind of like a regional manager, I'm going to make a $21 override. Okay. And then we have something called a global pool, which is for your average customer. $21 is going to go into this global pool, and that is going to be paid out quarterly. And I'll touch in a little bit about how we earn shares in that pool. All right. And then we have our referral program, right? So I go out and bring on a customer, and they're going to have an incentive. We have a program called Give 50, Get 50, right? Where I bring on my sister, let's say, and my sister knows, her neighbors. Obviously, I don't know her neighbors. So she's going to get her first bill from Common and see that it's all working and it's great. And she's going to go to her neighbor and say, hey, you should get on this community solar program. It's really good. I'm saving, I saved $15 last month. I'm probably going to get a month's worth of electricity for free over the course of a year. So that neighbor signs up. Well, the neighbor who's signing up is going to get a $50 credit. My sister in this case is going to get a $50 credit, and I am going to get $30. Right? It doesn't matter how big or small the meter is. And then you can see Tier 1, Tier 2, you can see that if you're as a sales manager or a regional manager, you'll continue to make overrides there as well. You'll also see that $5 is put into that global pool that we were talking about. So just to give you an idea also here, this is based on 10,000 kilowatts, but down below, if you can see, my house, I use around 24,000 kilowatts a year. So if I were to get my house, I'm in New Jersey. So when New Jersey comes live, which hopefully will be towards the end of this year, I'll make a $324 commission on my house, right? You can see a small business, 50,000 kilowatts. It's got to be a non-demand meter. So this is primarily a residential play, but there's a lot of commercial, small commercial, especially in New York, not in Maryland, but in New York. As long as it's not a demand meter, it qualifies for the program. And you can see, a small dry cleaner or a liquor store or a restaurant that qualifies could be $648. Or you could see a school or a medium-sized business that's non-demand. Could be almost $1,300, right? So the idea is that the more the kilowatt users, the more the kilowatt use, the higher the pay. We had one that qualified the other day. It was in Maryland, as a matter of fact. It was 311,000 kilowatts. and it paid out almost $4,000 to the originator. And obviously the team pay, goes up accordingly. So here's how our global pool works, right? So for every sale that you get personally, you're going to earn 2 shares in this pool. When your tier 1 consultant brings on a new customer, they're going to earn 2 shares, and you're going to pick up a share. And then that tier 2 consultant, they're going to pick up 2. The tier 1 consultant would pick up the 1 share, and I'll pick up a half a share, right? And then this is the tier 3, 4, 5, for et cetera, are for the people that really build a big sales organization, and they have just a lot of people that are continuing to go out and basically be ambassadors for this company and get this message out there. Well, for every share, doesn't matter how many levels deep it goes, there's a quarter of a share that gets put into this pool. This pool is going to be paid out quarterly. There is a qualification to be in the pool. The qualification is you either need to have 3 personal sales yourself, or your tier 1, tier 2, and your own personal sales combined have to be at least 15 within a given quarter, right? So 3 personal sales, that's 1 sale a month. It's pretty simple. We want everybody basically to qualify for this pool. The bigger the pool is, the more shares you have, the more you're going to earn in this. Just to give you an example, that one deal that I talked about, 311,000 kilowatts, put a couple $100, like $600 or $800 into this pool. So you get a couple big deals like that, you can see how rich this pool can really get. So here's just an idea of a basic scenario of what can happen. Again, this is based on 10,000 kilowatts average. Our average for the past 9 months, since we've been involved with this, between New York and Maryland, is actually probably more like 11,000 in New York and 14,000 or so in Maryland. But that's our average that we've had for the past 9 months. So 10,000 is basically a conservative number. So here's an idea: if you go out and get 5 sales in a given month, you're going to earn $648. Okay. You're also going to earn 10 shares in the pool. You can see that if you're tier 1, right? So I use Tony as an example. I brought Tony, but say I brought on 3 other Tonys, right? So now I have 4 people in my sales organization that are on my tier 1. And if they all go out and get 5 sales that month, well, I would earn an additional $648 as an override. Okay. Then tier 2, right? So the Tonys went out and each got a little team going, became sales managers themselves. And I had 16 people on tier 2 getting 5 sales. That's 80 sales. I would make $1,728 override on that. And then, so you can see that just on the tier pay right there, that's $3,000 in income that month, right? I mean, you can see that the global pool, now again, remember the global pool is paid out quarterly. So we've taken that number of what we think it's going to be. It's going to be different every quarter because the amount of shares versus the amount of dollars that are in there, there'll be variables there. We think it'll be somewhere in this case of around $3,000, which would be approximately $1,000 a month, right? Then we have our referral program. Using this example here, if each one of these customers just referred 1 person each month, then that referral pool would add up to $700. Now we know that in this case, out of 400 customers that are in there, some are going to refer 3 and 4 customers, and some are not going to refer any, right? But just using that average of each one, right? I do know this, that if when people really understand that referral program, if their electric bill is $100 a month, and they understand that if they just refer 2 people to something that is free for them, they're guaranteed to save money. They could just refer 2 people and have a free they would basically have a credit on their bill where they wouldn't have a bill. All right. So I do think that that referral program has the potential to go viral, right? I mean, imagine if you had somebody that all of a sudden had like a 5,000 following on Facebook, and they put up a great post saying, hey, if you're in this market, you should really get on this system before it fills up. Boom, you might have 1 person get 100 customers because of 1 post, right? It's really unlimited as to what can happen with that program. So if you add that up, it adds up to almost $5,000 for the month, or almost $60,000 for the year. Again, guys, I want to emphasize there's no limit to where this can go. You can go bring on 20 guys on tier 1, right? You could go get 10 sales a month. there's no limit. It's unlimited to the amount of income that can be made with this comp plan. We have a program right now that's great. You see this business today, you say, hey, I want to get involved in that. I know a bunch of people that I could share this with and educate on this program. You're going to earn the normal $390 using that 130 as the average. But if you do it in your first 7 days, you could earn an additional $150. So that's $540. We have people that are literally doing this in their first 2 hours, right? They get certified, which I'll touch on how to do that. And boom, they make this literally in their first 2 hours. We have people that are making $1,000, $2,000 in their first week of being involved with Common Energy, and you're good to go. You're going to get a replicated website, like I talked about. Everybody's basically looks the same, but once you send this link out, now it's tracked back to you. So that's how we can track who gets the commission on that sale. You're going to get a customized flyer. It's going to have your rep address on it. It's going to have your phone number on it, but it's all customized. This is something that it's a PDF that you could just send out to people. Or more in a follow-up where if you have a small conversation with somebody, you can send this to them, type of thing. Or if in your local community, I mean, maybe not so much today, but you can have these flyers around your town where you could, a lot of local places allow you to put, information like this out there, and boom, just, get it around your town. We have a really simple 1.5 minute video that explains the program very simply. Again, we have some great tools, and they continue to get better, right? 3 months ago when we started in February, we called it version 1. Well, as of today, we're actually updating it to what we'll now call version 2. So guys, we're in the very beginning stages of what promises to be, just an absolutely huge market that we're going to. But we have a system in place where we teach people exactly what to say, and how to convey this message. It's just a great system that is plug and play. It's just all there. Again, guys, we're just in these 2 little states. Where we're going with this is unlimited over the years to come. I do believe that if that number is right in New York, of in the next 5 years, 1.2 million new customers coming on board. Imagine, I know Florida is a state that just passed big legislation. It takes a little while. Once the legislation gets passed, it takes a while for the developers to do what they have to do, acquire the land, build the systems, et cetera. But 2021 could be a Florida, and they'll be, from what I understand with that project, it'll be like maybe twice the size of New York's project. But again, my point is that the whole state over the next 3-5 years, there's going to be community solar projects popping up pretty much everywhere.